The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report, TV and radio. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television. We talk about CM Punk's controversial comments from this past Monday night's Raw. Also, the rebuild of The Miz. What will it take to put The Miz back in a position of dominance in WWE? And the 4 names that SummerSlam should be built around and how it might be built. It's going to be interesting to say the least. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television, which starts right now.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television for Thursday. What is today?
June 30th.
Today's the 30th?
Yeah.
That is true. Damian Nelson here sitting alongside David Octavius de Tiberius and the alleged Hall of Famer Hero. What a week it's been in professional wrestling.
That fixed it, you know.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All these fancy videos you do, you just can't get the mic to come down for me?
Did you complete a work order?
Yes.
Did you submit it to the right people?
Yes.
A lot to discuss this week, including we finally get to the rebuilding of The Miz. We talk about the 4 or 5 names SummerSlam should be built around and how that will happen, and also the explosive comments from CM Punk from this past Monday night on WWE Raw, which will include some spoilers. So we'll get to that. We'll warn you when we get to that point. But before that, David Hero, we've been talking about it for weeks. The time is now. I would like to hear from the horse's mouth, if you will. Well, jackass.
Really? Okay, that's fine. You know what? It's fine because I know how to rebuild your favorite guy.
From the man who destroyed the career single-handedly of The Miz, David Hero, I would like to hear your way of rebuilding The Miz into a WWE champion or championship caliber material again.
Caliber material is more like it. The guy needs to get some heat and some fire back. Right now, he has absolutely nothing. Ever since he lost the briefcase and the title and his boyfriend, he has not had
his apprentice.
Oh, now he's a Padawan all of a sudden? Well, that Padawan is kicking Anakin's butt all over the place. But the fact of the matter is, The Miz has lost his fire. He's not even a top 5 guy on Raw right now. Mark Henry got more heat and more steam than The Miz on Raw. There's only one person that can help him.
Who dat?
Only one person that may have the desire to get back in the ring and work with The Miz.
Who dat?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Really?
Absolutely.
Break it down.
Austin 316. Well, you know, Austin was like A-Rice's cheerleader. Mm-hmm. Got him motivated, got him pumped up. Set the match between Miz and Riley. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
When he was a special guest host?
Yeah.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is The Miz's only hope to regain any past glory.
Only hope.
Only hope. Austin is so loved and revered and cheered, and he is I would say, one of the faces of the WWE. The Miz has wrestled everybody else already. He's wrestled Kofi, A-Rice, Cena, Orton, everybody there is to wrestle on the current roster.
This is the same guy who asks the question when The Miz comes up every time. Who has he beat?
He's beat nobody. He hasn't beat anybody. And no, he is not going to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. But a nice 2 or 3 month program with Austin going back and forth elevates The Miz quicker than working with anybody else on the roster. He will elevate quicker that way than if he were to become the WWE World Champion.
Really?
Absolutely. The belt's a prop. Stone Cold is a Hall of Famer. You got to admit, you would love to see Stone Cold and The Miz go one-on-one. And Austin, I think, from watching Tough Enough, I think he's healed up enough where he would be comfortable
you can trust The Miz.
Having one match. Could be at SummerSlam.
So you're saying
against Stone Cold.
You're saying that the match, the big matchup that Austin comes back for, is with The Miz.
Yes. Who else is there? He's not going to beat John Cena because that hurts the company. He's not going to beat Randy Orton because that hurts the company. He can beat The Miz. The company's not going to be hurt, but The Miz will get a ton of exposure, a ton of heat.
He didn't have that as WWE champion?
He did, but he'll be white hot with Austin. He's the guy that gets Austin to come out of retirement. The Miz. And you know he'll sell a stunner like a world champ or a former world champ.
He is.
Otherwise, right now, let's face it, The Miz, his title reign goes down with Sheamus and Jack Swagger as uneventful.
Did Sheamus or Jack Swagger headline
It
WrestleMania?
doesn't matter. The entire reign would be uneventful.
Headlining WrestleMania doesn't matter.
Not at all.
Defeating John
Lawrence
Cena at
Taylor and
WrestleMania.
Bam Bam Bigelow headlined
Not as
WrestleMania.
WWE champion.
Sid versus Undertaker headlined
Not as-
WrestleMania.
Well, it was 13.
Uh-huh.
You know, the whole
Just saying.
Roman thing. I still think you don't give enough credit to the Miz's championship reign.
Who did he beat? Yes, it's predetermined. Yes, it's up to the booking
Look it
committee
up
and the
right now.
writers. He beat Jerry Lawler.
And he beat John Morrison on several occasions. He beat John Cena on several occasions.
With help from the outside.
But he won.
It was a cowardly world championship reign. Just saying. Sheamus had more clean victories. Jack Swagger.
Nobody would remember because, he was champion for, what,
3 or
20
4
days?
months? Doesn't make a difference.
The reign doesn't make a difference.
How long it is? No.
Really?
Not at all. People still talk about David Arquette's reign. It was terrible.
How long was his reign?
2 or 3 weeks? A month, maybe?
Oh, wait till that
The
calls up
Miz
here.
needs something, and the only one that can save his career right now is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The only one.
The only one. Triple H comes back and beats him. Shocking. Big surprise. Undertaker were to come back. Nobody cares.
There's no value in The Miz being WWE champion? I'm sorry, The Miz having a program with Triple H?
No, not
Isn't
at
it the
all.
same thing, bringing Triple H out of quote-unquote retirement?
No, because Triple H beats everybody. It's expected that he...
I thought he was a doofus.
Listen, if Triple H were to beat The Miz, it'll be a burial. Austin will do it in a creative way where The Miz will look good. Austin's a Hall of Famer. It means more to wrestle Austin than Triple H right now.
The chances of all this happening are pretty slim, I would say.
Well, I'm the same guy that said Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon, didn't I?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I called Sheamus gonna beat John Cena.
I'm surprised you're still talking about Sheamus.
Why
With
not?
as far back in the ranks in the WWE roster as he is.
Because he has raw potential. He's still untapped. They have yet to use him properly.
Will they?
Maybe they have to. I think he's next in line for Randy Orton. Again.
Well, Miz and Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Could be at SummerSlam. What else do they have for Miz? He can't be working A-Rai all the way through. Even if they let Miz win Money in the Bank, which he's one of my top 2 favorites to win Money in the Bank.
Ooh, along with?
You gotta wait till be the booker for that.
Dang it.
But even that, then it's like the same thing all over again.
But isn't there some value to that? The journey begins again?
Punk did it twice. Look what happened to him. He's leaving the company.
I thought that was a work.
It is a work, but he's taking time off. But that's later.
So is the shoot.
Don't get ahead. That's later in the show. Check your notes.
We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we're going to talk about SummerSlam and talk about some of those players that will definitely be involved with the show, but speculate or discuss how they should be involved with the show. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television.
Stop stalking your ex and be our friend on Facebook and join the tremendous worldwide discussion. Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report.
Everybody start gasping. I'm ready for the lights, camera, action. Go! You already know what it is. It's your boy C, right?
It's time to go about a minute. We're going to do WWE Raw. I'm the man they call Meathead, and there really is nothing else to talk about on Raw except CM Punk, the crazy mariachi Punk, if you will. All the complaining that's been going out there, is it work, is it shoot, is it, you know what, just enjoy it. I know the guys have talked about it, and they're going to talk about it, and they've talked about it on a radio show, they've talked about it here on the television. I have not cared about wrestling as much as I did for those 6 minutes that were going on. Now, granted, the promo that he had earlier in the night with HBK was okay, but he didn't retaliate against HBK when, you know, both of his guys got super kicked. So the 6 minutes that he spent at the end of the show really letting it go, breaking that fourth wall like we do with you here every week on the program, that was the part that had me excited. I mean, when you have guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, JR, and everybody else in the business going, that was the hottest thing you've ever seen, I'm excited. Now, WWE, let's hope that you don't go and goof this up. And let me offer you a piece of advice before we go. Never be the next somebody. Always be the first you. I'll see you in about a minute.
She's the calendar posing, bar crawling, concert going, social media diva, Linda Kay. She's real, damn real.
In the club with my homies, trying to get a little VI, keep it down on the low key. You know I'm...
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime
That was
Television.
way too long. You give this guy way too much FaceTime. I'm just saying.
FaceTime?
Yeah,
On my iPad 3?
sure.
Talk to people, you know, and they're right there in front of you.
Be careful. There's a glare that comes off. It turns things
That
green.
was facing me.
Oh, okay.
SummerSlam. It's the biggest party of the summer. It's in Los Angeles, California at the Staples Center, and it is one of WWE's staple pay-per-views. No pun intended. But there are several people who you know will be a big part of the show. The question is, how will they be used at that show? We're going to talk about some of those names and speculate as to how they might be used on the pay-per-view and what would make some sense for these people, and the first of which is Alberto Del Rio, David Hero.
ADR. But you already knew that. Wink. He's going to be in the world title picture. Either
The world title picture?
or the E title picture. One of the two, he's going to be there. Because the long journey is going to finally come to fruition at SummerSlam. ADR could win Money in the Bank.
He could.
He very well. He's handsome, he's rich, he's powerful. What better guy to have in Los Angeles than Alberto Del Rio? He's got movie star good looks. Los
That is
Angeles.
the Miz's hometown, you know.
No, he lives from Cleveland.
Now he's
He's
from
still
Los
Cleveland.
Angeles.
Okay.
Ric Flair's not from Minneapolis,
No, he's from Charlotte, North
where he now
Carolina.
lives.
We talked about The Miz earlier. I'm done rebuilding him. Okay. But ADR, I think he'll be in a match with Randy Orton.
ADR versus Orton.
Yeah, I could see that.
We haven't seen that necessarily yet.
Well,
I mean, we may have
Orton's
seen the
on
match, but
SmackDown,
not the...
ADR's on Raw, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if they're going to protect John Cena going forward with The Rock at WrestleMania, well, they have to have John Cena work someone he can beat.
When you say Rock, do you mean Dwayne?
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the new star of G.I. Joe.
You mean Marlon Wayans won't be in the next one?
No, come on.
Well, you answered the question about another name we're going to talk about. That is Randy Orton, but that leaves somebody out. Christian. What do you do with him?
Christian, unfortunately, will wind up going back to mid-card. There's no way he's going to sustain main events on SmackDown through the summer.
Fans are behind him. Or were, anyways.
That's fine. They can all be behind him. But with the departure of Punk, maybe Christian winds up
He's
on
leaving?
Raw. He's gonna be gone for a little while. They could send Christian to Raw. He could kind of fill Punk's role there.
Really?
Why not? Smaller heel. He's kind of smarky, snarky. You know, good promos. But Christian's gonna fall to mid card. I hate to say it. I could see Christian work a program with Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm over Sin Cara.
Well, of course, because he's not a Nelson family member. He's, of course, a super friend.
How's that been working out for you?
Working out great.
Sin Cara specifically.
Doesn't matter.
Your
The team's in
your
first
little team.
place. The team is kicking butt. We'll be taking your name tag pretty soon.
Christian, mid-card though, where, who, why?
It doesn't make a difference. He's been mid-card his entire career. He has been. Tell me he hasn't.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a former NWA and TNA World Champion.
That's great. So is Ron Killings. So is Raven. So is Rhino. So is Samoa Joe. So is Ken Shamrock. Where's he? Being the TNA World Champion has no bearing at all what happens on Raw and SmackDown. They don't care.
John Cena.
Well, it's going to be the main event at SummerSlam.
Against?
Against.
You would presume it's the Money in the Bank winner.
You would like to believe that. What if it's Mark Henry?
Oh!
Was
that SummerSlam 95 when it was Henry versus Diesel? It wasn't Henry,
No,
it was
Mabel.
Mabel, yes.
Yes. Mabel
I
versus
still, to this day, have not seen that SummerSlam.
Kevin Nash said that may have been the worst match of his entire life. And he'll tell you he hasn't had a whole lot of good ones, but that was the worst. Well, he'll be honest. Like you said, Nash once said, he's like, I'm 7 feet tall,
Right.
320 pounds.
Yeah.
When does a gorilla do backflips off the top rope?
Right.
He goes, I punch and kick. So.
Mark Henry.
No, I'm just saying, the way they're building Mark Henry,
Yeah.
I hope they don't waste all this on just the big show.
So what if CM Punk stays around?
They have an opportunity to book Mark Henry the same way they booked Vader in WCW when you thought he was going to kill Hulk Hogan.
Will there be a mask and a helicopter flying over a snowy mountaintop?
You know what? That would be fine. If that's what's going to get Mark Henry over. I mean, if you honestly think about it, who in the company could legitimately beat Mark Henry, the world's strongest man?
Legitimately is the...
Maybe Big Show.
Kane?
Maybe Kane.
Taker?
I don't know. Taker's beat up. There is nobody more as big and as powerful as Mark Henry. Legitimately, he should be the world champion, just on his physical attributes alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, mark the date. David Hero just said Mark Henry should be world champion.
Why not? If you want to book wrestling like it's real, not predetermined, Mark Henry should be your world champion. He's the world's strongest man. Do you honestly think Christian could ever beat Mark Henry in a real fight?
No.
No.
Unless he's got ninja stars.
Listen, that's Linda Kay's deal. Stop.
Why would there be Linda?
Because she loves ninja throwing stars. We'll talk about that some other time. But MMA is so popular because it's so real. UFC is so real. It's legitimate fighting, contests. And that's what wrestling used to be. I mean, the Road Warriors beat everybody because legitimately nobody could ever beat the Road Warriors. Right?
Yeah.
That's what made them great. That's why they're always the world champions, because they were, that freak show, that attraction. You put them on the poster, larger than life personalities. That's why Hulk Hogan was always such a great babyface, and he always wrestled the monster heels. One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, Kamala, the Samoans, Vader. Larger than life personalities. I'm off track because you let me get off track. But
it was going in good places.
Mark Henry probably will not be wrestling John Cena because nobody would buy that pay-per-view. But I'm telling you, if they were to book Mark Henry right, he would be the true monster heel of that company.
So let's say CM Punk stays around after Money in the Bank next month. Mm-hmm. Could we see that at SummerSlam, CM Punk and John Cena?
You could. Who knows? CM Punk could be the champion going into SummerSlam.
Ooh.
Where he's being forced to come back to defend the title against John Cena. But, of course, that would go against everything that we have learned about what happens next Monday night on Raw. Because, you step on a duck.
Yeah, it's the Affleck duck.
Tremendous.
Well, it's that time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take another time out, and when we come back, we're going to talk about CM Punk and those controversial comments from this past Monday night's Raw. I want to let you know, when we come back, We'll not only be discussing this past Monday's Raw, but we'll also be discussing this upcoming Monday's Raw, which has already been taped by WWE for next week.
That's a spoiler?
That is
a
what
warning?
That is a spoiler warning. So you have been warned, and unless you have a problem with your ears, then you have been warned that we are going to talk, because you can't really talk about this situation without talking about where it is going next week. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Television.
Tired of all the lies, rumors, and assumptions in wrestling news? So are we. Join us each week for the Pro Wrestling Report on ESPN Radio for the latest news and views on pro wrestling. Visit us at pwrshow.com to check the latest schedule.
Feel like something big is going down tonight. I'm out from the club, big bitch, and love, I promise.
Time to go about a minute on Impact Wrestling. I'm the man they call Meathead. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Sting has been doing and what Hogan's letting Sting do to him. There's so many different undertones with Sting climbing up on top of Hogan and painting his face, running mascara all over his face. Is this really the direction that we want to go with Impact Wrestling? I actually took the time to watch all 2 hours of Impact Wrestling. I know it sounds like a chore to some of you and some of us here, but I did watch Impact Wrestling. And it's not the boys. The boys are working as hard as they can. The girls are working as hard as they can. I just don't understand what direction you're going in. I really don't get it. So this bottom minute isn't supposed to be me just pissing and moaning about this, that, and the other thing. It's, spending a minute talking wrestling with you. But honestly, Impact, you're making me struggle to watch the program. Great wrestling matches, but what are you doing? The only real entertaining thing on there has been Ken Anderson. What a great champ. And the man they call Mita, and this has been about a minute.
If that wasn't enough warning, I don't know what is. But we are about to talk about not just what happened this past Monday on Raw, but what is going to happen next week on Raw. It's
Do you want to give me one
uncharacteristic
more
of
quick
us.
warning?
We just did with the whole
Right, I know, but some people
Ladies and
aren't that
gentlemen,
smart.
we are fixing to talk about next week's WWE Raw, which was
Monday Night
taped
Raw.
this past Monday night at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We will be revealing to you several details on things that will happen on this upcoming Monday's broadcast. That is a spoiler. We're going to spoil the program for those of you who choose to be spoiled. And the reason we're doing it is because, as I said before the break, you can't really talk about what did happen without talking about what's going to happen. And let's first talk about what did happen, David Hero, and it was explosive and controversial comments from CM Punk to end WWE Raw this past Monday night. No stone left unturned. Talks about John Cena, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Johnny Ace, the
Everybody.
fans. And
He cut a promo everybody wishes they could have said. And of course, let's be honest, he got the blessing from Vinnie Mac. Because there's no way that promo goes 10 seconds without a mic being killed. Because that truck in the back is like the be-all, end-all. Kevin Dunn knows exactly how that script is written, and once it goes off, they will make adjustments.
now, I will give you that. There is no doubt that it was all agreed to in advance. But I don't think, word for word, what might have been talked about before is what was said out in front of the live audience.
Well, he may have thrown the Colt Cabana in there. He may have tossed in a Ring of Honor reference. But they got their point across. Mm-hmm. Everybody is still, what is it now, 4 days later, we're still talking about it, and we'll be talking about it through the weekend and all through next week. Probably for the next 3 weeks, we'll be talking about CM Punk and what he's been doing, what he's been saying. I mean, when the guys on Twitter, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Dave Batista, Jericho, even the guys in TNA, I mean, I had phone calls from guys in TNA Monday night after the show saying, what did he say? What was going on?
Because they were working.
Well, yeah, they were working. They were busy, Come on, it's TNA, Monday night, TV tapings. It's great for wrestling. It sparked interest, sparked fire. There's no hotter wrestler on the planet right now than CM Punk. I would be willing to say if The Rock were to come back Monday night,
People would be waiting to hear what
people would rather see what Punk has to say than The Rock right now.
The question that's out there, the question that all these fans have been asking and dwelling on in some cases, was it a work, meaning is it part of a storyline, or was it a shoot, meaning CM Punk took the microphone and said the things that were truly that he wanted to get off his chest?
It was a work, the entire thing. There is no way for a guy that protects his company the way Vince McMahon does, where he takes the wrestling out, where now they're called superstars. He calls the fans the universe. Everything is micromanaged. That would never have escaped onto live TV without prior knowledge by everybody.
Regardless of that fact, as you said a moment ago, it has still reignited wrestling.
Right, absolutely, because people can't believe, because people aren't sure. I mean, when we left radio, I even said, I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. You know, and normally I think we have a pretty good idea as to where things are headed. Now that we've had time, to let it marinate, think about it, hands down, it's a work because he called out everybody, and if it was a shoot, more stuff would have leaked out from the back by now. Punk would have gone on, if he was truly suspended, Punk would have gone on Twitter and said something about it. Because what does he have to lose? He's done.
Right. Whether it was a work or a shoot, it doesn't matter.
No, because
is everyone dwelling too much on that?
Ratings are going to be great Monday night.
Intrigue has been built.
Absolutely. Because a lot of people don't know that it was taped after Raw.
Right.
So they're going to wait. And when can we announce some of these spoilers? Because we got more to talk about.
From what CM Punk said Monday after Raw leads into what will be done this upcoming Monday on Raw. It was announced by WWE that CM Punk had been suspended indefinitely directly by WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon, not Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, on WWE.com. Well, what happens on Monday night, this upcoming Monday night on Raw, is John Cena is not too happy with that fact. And he wants CM Punk reinstated, and he questions why Vince McMahon is not allowing CM Punk to express
why is he
himself.
Censoring?
Exactly.
Freedom of speech, just watch what you say.
A three-way match is made to determine the new number one contender. Just after CM Punk demands that Vince McMahon come out and answer his questions, we find out Vince McMahon is going to be appearing later that night. And Alberto Del Rio qualifies to become the new number one contender for the WWE Championship and will presumably be taking the place of CM Punk at WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But wait, there's more. Out comes Vince McMahon with the walk that only he can walk. And he
the
says...
cock of the walk?
The what?
The cock of the walk.
I'm not familiar with what that means. He says that, yes, indeed, CM Punk is fired for unprofessional conduct and behavior. John Cena comes out, challenges that decision, hands the title to Vince McMahon and says, I'm walking out. I quit.
What an idiot. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? See, that right there tells you the whole thing is scripted. You're the world champion. You're the number one guy in the company. You're making the big bucks. Who quits over CM Punk? Let him go. He doesn't like him anyhow. He doesn't. See, that's when they overbook stuff.
As John Cena is leaving the ring, Vince McMahon says, oh yeah, fine. Why don't you just walk out on me like everybody else did? Mentions Hulk Hogan by name. And then says CM Punk has been reinstated. So the match is back on for Money in the Bank.
Didn't they do that once before where they... was it with John Cena when he was suspended or fired?
Suspended, then fired, then banned.
Yeah.
Then suspended, then rehired, then fired,
stuff.
then banned.
They had great momentum, and they screw it up by overbooking Monday Night Raw.
Question. I don't know whether it was overbooked or not, but the question is, did it need to happen next week?
No.
Why couldn't that have been the Monday, which was live right before
it's not
Money in the
like
Bank?
It's not like they don't book pay-per-views, 3 days before.
Right,
anyhow.
exactly.
It's a difference.
Exactly.
I mean, how great would it have been? The build-up is for ADR to wrestle Cena, And then there's another screw job, another swerve, that CM Punk brings out Clarence Mason and his attorneys and says, hey, I still have a contract. I wasn't in breach, you know.
But we don't know what's going to happen on that live Raw before Money in the Bank, but this seemed a little quick, especially given the fact that it's a taped show and they're still pretending as if CM Punk is suspended.
No, they have to.
Exactly.
CM Punk has now put himself in the same spot that Brian Pillman put himself in when his contract was up from WCW. Highly sought after free agent. He'll be getting contract offers from pretty much every wrestling company under the sun, as well as indies and whatnot. He's going to cash in and make a lot of money on this. That's why I believe he's already re-signed a contract. He's going to take 6 months off, come back around the Royal Rumble time. What a great return would that be at the Rumble?
Doesn't CM Punk have to beat John Cena?
No,
at Money in the Bank?
Not at all.
With all that he's done, all that he's said.
He buried the company. Let the superhero beat him.
Because he can work with that.
Sure. Punk has lost every big match under the sun except for a ladder match with Jeff Hardy, and he comes back every week stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm. You know, I can't get this sneaking suspicion out of my head that CM Punk's actually going to win at Money in the Bank. Whether he still takes a time off or not, because he could win, throw the title back at Vince and John Cena and say, here, I don't even want it.
He very well could. And then that would open up SummerSlam to something completely different. Mm-hmm. A tournament to determine a new world champion.
WrestleMania 4.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get like what? With all my super friends, I get like 2 matches out of each one because they're the only ones good enough to be in the tournament. Oh, huge lead. You know what? I would love to see CM Punk beat John Cena and then give the belt back to Vince and leave. That would be great. But how does that help build John Cena as the unstoppable force to go against the immovable object at WrestleMania? Now, yes, wrestling fans do have a short memory, and they'll probably have forgotten that Punk beat John Cena. But is this in the big scheme of of the long-term plans?
Vince McMahon clearly involved with this. As Linda and Frank talked about on Interactive yesterday, how much will Vince McMahon be involved in this whole story?
A ton. It's his company. He was called an idiot. He should be a billionaire, but he's a millionaire. Called his daughter an idiot. Called his son-in-law a doofus. He's surrounded by yes men, which he really is surrounded by yes men. I mean, a lot of the things Punk said are absolutely true. I don't consider Triple H a doofus. He's a very crafty, smart, conniving individual.
I don't know why it's so funny to hear you say, I don't consider Triple H to be a doofus.
He's not. The guy has made more money than anybody else.
He is brilliant. And I don't even know if the average fan can appreciate how brilliant Triple H is as it pertains to professional wrestling. But what we said and what we talked about in this past Monday's radio show, and what I still firmly believe is, in general, everything Punk said, there is some shred of his belief of it.
Isn't it funny how Johnny Ace made a TV appearance on Raw with Mark Henry and Big Show, and then he's referenced by CM Punk later in the promo?
Did they mention him by name, though? I didn't catch the commentary.
They don't have to.
No, actually, somebody did.
Mark Henry says, what are you going to do, fire me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that's done in that company is done for a reason. It may not be as clear at the time what the reason is, but it certainly becomes clear as things evolve.
Everything is right in front of us. We just can't put all the pieces together to figure it out.
You ever
but
seen
it's all
the movie
right
Clue?
there. The board game?
The movie Clue.
Yeah, but it's a board game too, right?
It is a board game. It's a movie based on the board game.
Sure, of course I have. Mr. Pumpernickel, right? Professor Plum.
There have been similar situations where people have spoken their minds. You talk about Brian Pillman, who was a bit of a loose cannon. You can't ignore the situation between Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff, back when Flair had gotten suspended from WCW, and he came back and returned to Nitro and cut that promo on Eric and called him an overbearing asshole, a liar, a cheat. You can't look away from what Joey Styles said to Vince McMahon in the ring, what Paul Heyman said to Vince McMahon in the ring. There have been these instances many a time where a person has spoken up and spoken out and said those shocking and inflammatory things, Have they really ever, at the end of the day, gone very far, though?
No. Something always happens where, the rug gets pulled off from underneath. But this is going to at least go for the next 3 or 4 weeks. 3 weeks to the pay-per-view, a week after for the Fallout.
Money in the Bank is going to be an interesting pay-per-view, especially now that CM Punk will be in that match. Again, they could go a whole different direction on that Raw right before as well. Maybe Alberto Del Rio gets back in. Maybe it gets made a 3-way. Who knows?
I hope it's not. It won't be a 3-way because there's way too much heat involved for that match to be a 3-way.
Yeah.
But
that crowd is going to be amazing.
They may tell Del Rio he's #1 contender to the winner of Punk and Cena for the next month.
Or Del Rio does win Money in the Bank, and he still gets that
2 title shots.
Because that's the one scenario we haven't talked about. CM Punk may win. There might be a Money in the Bank winner coming out right after he does defeat John Cena at...
I would hate that.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Let Punk leave as champ and hand the belt over and say, I'm out of here.
That would be tremendous.
Otherwise...
That's a short shot, though.
Otherwise, John Cena's almost a transitional champion.
That's not such a bad thing, is it?
No, I'm saying Cena. As weird as it sounds, they're just taking the belt off Cena, put on somebody else through Punk.
But it's not unusual to put the belt back on somebody safe.
Did you see the guys in that ladder match? Money in the Bank?
Yes, it's The Miz, Alex Riley, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, Evan Bourne, and Jack Swagger.
Yeah, the only real contender in there right now is ADR. That's it.
And The Miz.
The Miz is not going to beat CM Punk.
Going into Money in the Bank last year, would you have picked The Miz to win Money in the Bank? Probably not.
I think I chose Evan Bourne.
Oh, he's in it again. You want to pick him again?
No, probably not.
Oh, that was back when Evan Bourne was a bigger star than Cody Rhodes.
Still is a bigger star than Cody Rhodes.
What?
Yeah, it was, let's see. Evan Bourne is wrestling Sin Cara, wrestling Jack Swagger. Who's Cody Rhodes working right now?
Daniel Bryan Danielson.
Who? Exactly. The Vanilla Midget. Just saying. I like Daniel Bryan Danielson. He should be crushing Cody Rhodes. Wait, he is, isn't he? He's been making him tap quite a bit.
Cody Rhodes beat him last Friday on SmackDown.
I didn't watch it.
Regardless of what happens with this, Money in the Bank is a pay-per-view that must be seen, I think. And it's going to be an interesting night from Chicago's Allstate Arena, CM Punk's hometown, a city where they don't like John Cena much as it stands already. All the possibilities swirling around the Money in the Bank matchups. This is going to be an interesting 3 hours. Now the question, David Hero, in closing, how will WWE mess it all up?
No, they're not going to mess this up unless they do the stupid thing with the Money in the Bank and have that person beat Punk to end the show. Just let it go. I think everyone... Put it this way. If Vince McMahon is going to go out there and let someone rip his company apart, call him an idiot, say the company would be better off if he was dead, call his daughter names...
Well, I mean, come on. His daughter's been called a whore and a slut.
But that was all in funny haha with Jericho or The Rock. This was meant to be taken seriously.
Real, yeah.
So obviously, Vince has thought this out, and it is going to be down to a T, down to a science, and it's going to be awesome when it's all said and done.
And the only place to find out what the happenings are.
Happenings?
What's happening? Rerun. Yes. Is right here. We'll be covering it and covering it each Monday night on 540 ESPN all the way through the month of July. So be sure to tune in each week as we break down this continuing story surrounding CM Punk and WWE. I think there's going to be a lot to talk about over the next few weeks. That's for damn sure. I don't know how well they're going to... I don't see the end of this, and I'm glad I don't. But I hope it's not the end that is along the same path of a lot of other big-time things they've done in WWE as of late, which is walk away from them or do them in such a way where it becomes comical. We'll see what happens, and we'll be right along with you for the ride. For David Dull, Octavius Tiberius,
the Hall of Famer,
this is Damian Nelson saying thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Monday night on 540 ESPN after Raw.
Stop stalking your ex and be our friend on Facebook and join the tremendous worldwide discussion. Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report.
Everybody start gasping. I'm ready for the lights, 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 camera, action. Go!